My goodness gracious. Welcome into another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell, Glenn Martin, DK in the background. We're here to react to the ridiculously
My
insane,
goodness.
unnecessarily complicated roller coaster of a ride in Soldier Field. The Ravens win 16-13. I think you were about to say something before I didn't want you to say it off air, Glenn, about your emotions. I'm assuming you're going to say something to the effect of you're just drained emotionally,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, at this point, I don't
Just
know
no.
how much more I can handle this football season. I mean, whew, what a roller coaster of a game. I don't. It's hard to even come up with words to describe what I just saw. I mean, we're gonna find a way, but I mean, first of all, I guess just to open, shout out to this team. I mean, you talk
I
about
guess.
going into a game shorthanded. I
Yeah.
mean,
Extremely
Jimbo,
shorthanded. The shorthanded of shorthanded, like yes.
Jimbo, who? Everyone was gone.
I'd
Everyone.
be willing to bet that half the people watching this game don't to watch the whole game don't know who played on the other side of Marlon Humphrey.
Well, I think they know after that long pass at
Even
the end. I
still,
think
I
they
still
know.
don't think they know.
I mean, wow. Like, they could not have been
Yes.
more behind the eight ball going into this game. And Kevin
kidding.
Spencer's right. What
Yeah.
a freaking game
Like, what
that
else is there to
was.
say? Can I say something really quick, Glenn? And I need to ask you this question. Is there any way you would go with anyone else but Tyus Bowser for Defensive Player of the Game? Dude,
Absolutely not.
balled out all game, making every penny of that contract. And you know what? Your boy, I think, got 2 penalties.
Who's your boy?
Your boy,
Who?
Mr. 99 Owe.
Oh yeah, he
He
did.
didn't
He
do us
did.
any good in this game.
Now I thought that roughing pass or roughing call was a little bit ticky tack. I thought he got there in plenty of time. I don't think it was a very late hit, but yeah, didn't have the game I was expecting.
This is my second liter of moonshine, by the way.
Yeah, right. That's a tall glass of H2O right there. That's what that is.
Oh, but I'm telling you, we were all going through it. I'm sure you guys were as well. My goodness gracious. So many things to talk about in this game.
Yeah.
I'm just numb and emotionally drained. I mean, this is like a toxic relationship at this point, right? Like, dude, how much
really
worse
is.
can it get? I was ready to come on air, Glenn. I was ready to come on air and just be one of those people that I try really hard not to be. Wholesale changes, fire Wink, fire G-Row, get Harbaugh out of here. I'm done. And look, we won. So I can't really, I can't.
No. I mean, look, you talk about this team. Yeah. Was it pretty? Heck no. It was hideous. It was embarrassing at times. But the fact of the matter is they came into this game playing a Bears team that was desperate for a win if they were going to salvage anything from this season. A team that's coming off of a bye week who's, I mean, usually teams coming off a bye week have the advantage. There's no doubt. And they were at home. And I mean, and the Ravens were without so many players. I mean, nothing more could really have been stacked against the Ravens going into this game. And the fact that they came out with a win, I mean, as ugly as it was, you still got to credit the guys. Michael says the whole final drive by the offense was perfect. I'll tell you what, first of all, they got aided by that PI on a silly play by the corner when it was well covered. I'm not sure why.
Tony said it perfectly. He lost his composure at the top of the route. Lost his composure.
Yeah,
I
guess so. Yeah, thanks a lot, because that ball wasn't being completed, whether that corner was, just vanished from the face of the earth where the ball was in the air or not. But look, I mean, and then they finally blow a coverage. They leave Sammy wide open. That gets him into the 3-yard line. And then, Freeman finishing the drive. Hart was pounding at that point. Incredible game. But I want to get into some stats while you kind of figure out where you want to go next.
Okay, get into some stats. Before you get into stats, I want to do this. Can we just review really quickly? Because I understand the game was extremely ugly, and we got to get into all this. But can we just remind people how many players were out really quick? Like, I just want to, before we start tearing down the Ravens, good, bad, and the other, like, we already led the league in folks in volume of players in IR and money on IR. Like, 2 categories you never want to lead in. Then on top of that, Anthony Averett and Jimmy Smith are out. So it's Marlon Humphrey and the band. Like, you got Chris Westry out there.
Playing every snap, it seemed like.
Yeah, so that's huge. I mean, you got obviously with Macari coming back and Boyle coming back, we saw a bump in the run game. But
Yeah.
so many guys
I
banged up
mean,
in and out
Lamar
of this game.
Jackson,
Yeah.
Marquise Brown. I mean, you're talking about your best two offensive players throughout this season, along with, of course, Mark Andrews, who had a big first half, but was relatively quiet in the second half. No doubt. I mean, Jimbo, this was incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
and look, there were some players that came back, and we were thrilled to see some some of these guys get back out there, including Patrick Macari, who was my big note. Like, yay,
Yep.
he's back.
Yep.
But he didn't have the best game.
Him and Boyle still got a ways to go.
Yeah,
can
Boyle
tell.
looked like a shell of himself. He dropped that
Really
big
top
third
heavy,
down.
dude. Like he looked like he was super sluggish out there, man.
Yes, no explosiveness.
No physicality, like not the Nick we're
100%.
used to. So anyway, sorry, I just wanted to rehash that because that's so important. Like you said, Glenn, no Lamar, no Hollywood. I mean, no second or third corner. Like these are huge guys that we had out aside from the slew of players that were already gone. So anyway, I felt like that was important to mention.
Yeah,
but
absolutely. Mike says, the zero blitz call on fourth was inexcusable. Now, let me say this.
Yeah, and House mentioned the same thing.
Yeah, House said the zero was inexcusable.
Oh, yeah, did you already put that one up? My bad.
No, I mean, no, but we didn't read it, so I'm glad you did. I understand everyone's frustration, but I'll say this. If Westry doesn't absolutely blow his job, then that's a good call. Because here's the thing. When it's 4th and 11, it's obvious it takes a little bit of time to get 11 yards down the field. Typically, you want to throw the ball past the sticks. So you blitz in hopes that you get there before that opportunity arises. Now, Andy Dalton, that's the worry when you got I was terrified. When Andy Dalton came into this game,
I got so scared.
I was so scared because he's a veteran. He's seen it all. He'll have command of the line of scrimmage. He knows the Ravens. He'll have command of the line of scrimmage in a way that he can check in and out of plays, and he did on 4th and 11, called that double move that almost proved to be the game winner. But I while it wasn't executed well, I understand why he called that. Because, look, who would have thought that would have happened on that play?
So let me say this, and this is the only, I understand your point. This is what I disagree with you about that. Like, I understand your logic, and it would make total sense if it were Marlon and Averett out there, or Marlon and Peters, or I just don't know if you can, I know you want to say next man up, but I don't know if you can put Westry out. You got to know, like, who you have out there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And like, okay, I got Chris Westry out here. He's been hurt. He hasn't been, he's like our 5th string corner. Maybe let's not do this to him. I don't know. So like, that's where in my mind, you got to weigh who you have on the field, who are the chess pieces you got out there, because I think that is what to me made that play so egregious, is that he left Westry out there. I mean, it wasn't like he left one of our guys out there, but I get your point.
But here's the thing. Say the alternative is what? A 4-man rush and you drop a bunch into coverage. Do you have any confidence that we would have gotten any pressure with a 4-man rush, or would have Andy had 6 seconds to stand back there and wait for those same corners to get exposed and to get for a receiver to uncover, and then they pick up the first? I don't necessarily mind the call if the execute. I mean, look, if Westry knows they need 11, they can have 10, they can have 9, they can have 8, they can have all those. They can't have 11. He has that on his side, and he just blew it. I mean, he just blew it. So the alternative is you rush, 4 and you possibly give it up anyway because, you get no pressure on Andy and he has all the time. So, but let's get into some stat. Okay. Mon Thomas says the clubhouse was rocking at M&T Bank Stadium. When I say rocking, it was rocking. We were live. Oh, that's what I like. So what do they have, like a watch party? I'm not even aware of this, Iman. So if you could elaborate a little bit, I guess they had a watch party. That would be pretty cool. I didn't even hear that one was happening right now. Unless
let us know how we can join the club.
Yeah, I'll be out there. I mean, let's go. But yeah, so let's get into some of these numbers here, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
The stats from the game. So I'll run through both the the passing numbers for both teams. So Chicago, of course, combines at quarterback. Justin Fields leads off the game, going 4 for 11, 79 yards, and sacked twice. And then Andy Dalton comes in, quickly sparks them. But overall, numbers not the prettiest. Goes 11 for 23 for 201, 2 touchdowns, and he sacked once to end the game by Tyus Bowser. And then Huntley, completion percentage-wise, doesn't look terribly bad. 26 of 36 for 219 and the 1 pick. But sacked 6 times. Again, we see a heavy blitz defensive package drawn up against the Ravens. This time it's the Bears, and once again finding success against the offensive line. That big blitz, those big blitzes, Jimbo, still seem to be giving the Ravens offense troubles, or is this just because Huntley was out there and
Nope.
he's so inexperienced?
No, I think it's a combination of bad offensive line, struggling offensive line. We have potential to be good, but certainly we were really beat up there and starting to recover. So that, and then Huntley, yeah, I mean, but I won't put that all on Huntley. I will put a lot of that on them not being able to beat the blitz. You got to beat the blitz in high school. You got to beat the blitz in college. You got to beat the blitz in the pros. Like, this is not I mean, it's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Got to beat the blitz, right? Tone the Virgo. Andy Dalton is our real kryptonite. Huntley was great. Game isn't over until the clock hit 0. Big trust. Fair enough, Tone, because
I was nervous. I thought it was over. I'll be honest. I had very little confidence.
Yeah, and let me tell you what happened. Oh, when they scored and took the lead. No, not when they took the lead. When they extended their lead, my son was asleep next to me, and I was like, "Gosh, dang it!" I'm like, and I woke up, and
he's crying.
Did one of these, and so all the rest of the game, every time there's a big play, my wife's just looking at me like,
just
and I'm like
raging inside.
Oh, it was so tough, so hard not to make any noise. But man, it was. Yeah, I agree with you, Glenn. Tony Dalton was. I've had the same exact feelings. In fact, I'm shocked I didn't tweet about it, but I was like, oh boy.
Wow, Lamar Thomas. Yeah, it was a watch party that came with free Vikings tickets, free food, all you can eat, free drinks. It was amazing. Wow. So I guess Vikings tickets meaning the game a couple weeks ago. I'm assuming that's what he's referring to. But wow, so I guess it was like a package that had all kinds of stuff included. Sounds like a blast. And what a game to watch it. I hope everyone stuck it out to the end. I hope there wasn't too many people running for the exits after that last touchdown by the Bears. But let me finish up some rushing numbers. Montgomery for the Bears goes 14 for 58.
And
Fields
did he blow
goes
it on fourth down.
What's that? Oh, I know.
Blow it on fourth down.
He cuts it inside.
Did that to you? It made me think of a young Gus Edwards. Like
I don't remember exact play, but I guess your point is that picking, not necessarily picking the right hole,
not being patient enough, and trusting his eyes instead.
Yeah, that was the criticism of a young Gus Edwards, no doubt.
Yeah. Sorry, vision. Keep going. I apologize.
No, it's cool. Justin Fields, 4 carries, 23 yards with a long of 8 yards. That'll come back later. We'll talk about that a little bit later and how that impacts our show competition. Baltimore rushing.
It's a default. Lamar didn't play.
Huh?
It's a default. Lamar didn't play. It's a wash.
What do you mean?
Lamar didn't play.
What does that matter?
That was one of our categories. How can we have a winner?
So we just throw out everything?
That's right. You throw it all out.
We just all get that one wrong is what I'll say about that. As far as Baltimore, Devonta Freeman goes 16 for 49 yards and the game-winning touchdown. Tyler Huntley, 7 for 40, and Latavius Murray in his first game back since the injury goes 10 for 32 with a long of 8 yards. Pat Ricard also 1 carry, picked up a big third down.
Big one.
Yeah, he drugged some players across the first down marker there. And then receiving Chicago, the guy I was most worried about, Jimbo, Darnell Mooney, 5 catches, 121. Through the air with a touchdown. Marquise Goodwin, 4 catches, 104, and 1 touchdown. Of course, he had the big one at the end that got behind Westry. And then Jimmy Graham, the old vet, 2 for 25. Cole Kmet, just 1 catch for Cole Kmet for 12 yards, and that was late. Kind of a disappointing game for him. And then on the other side, the Raven, Mark Andrews, 8 catches on 10 targets for 73 yards, had a bunch of big ones. That big one on third down where he goes up and gets it when it looked like it was overthrown. Shout out to Mark Andrews. Sammy Watkins goes 3 for 48, including the big one late that sets up the field or the touchdown that wins the game. Duvernay, we talked about him having an extended role. He goes 4 for 37.
That wheel route was nice control. I mean, the way I think his first year in the league, he wouldn't have stayed in bounds.
Yeah, that was and he had to adjust, like you said, with the ball in the air.
Turn around and contort his body and get his feet. That was impressive.
Yeah, big time play there, no doubt about that. And then Freeman catches 6 balls out of the backfield for 31 yards.
He had
and Bateman, he did have a day, no doubt about it, especially when you have the game-winning touchdown. And then Bateman, kind of a disappointing afternoon, just 3 for 29. but did draw the big PI that sparked the game-winning touchdown, and
And
that
he
can't
ended up
go
with two of
unnoticed.
them, right? He had the
Yeah, he
holding,
had one early.
or it was a PI, and then
Yep, where he
so
pulled on his jersey. Yep,
yeah, I don't mind seeing it. It'll brings back vibes of Torrey Smith a little bit.
absolutely,
Dude, does
no
he
doubt about it.
shake people at the line or what? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, man, like a
Jesus.
crossover. And then
Yeah.
defensively, I just want to touch on a
Yeah.
couple. Were we lying about Roquan Smith, Jimbo?
Dude.
Were we
so
wrong?
He is the most intimidating guy I've ever seen wear a pair of glasses. Like, ever.
Clark Kent wore a pair of glasses.
I don't care. Roquan is scarier. Gosh,
Dude,
he's good, man.
everywhere.
And he's so large.
Yes.
Like, he moves like Patrick Queen, and he's like I swear he's like 1.5 times his size.
He looked like it. And he's so powerful. He slings guys to the ground when he gets a hold of them. 17 combined tackles, including 13 solo, as the masterful season continues. If this guy was on a contending team, he'd be in talks of Defensive Player of the Year, but he's on the doo-doo Browns, so nobody cares. And then Pat Queen, look at that. Their leading tackler had 17 tackles. Our leading tackler, 7. That's the difference right there in a nutshell of having a great inside presence in the middle of your defense, and then having Pat Queen, by the way, who I thought had a quiet, strong game. I thought he played well in a game where really I saw the disappearance of what happened to
Josh Bynes.
Yeah, was he hurt?
He missed a couple tackles I saw, but
he didn't record a stat.
Yeah, I know. And there was one that was wide open that was pretty egregious that he missed. I get nitpicky now that like PQ is on my short list because I felt like there were a couple times he didn't want anything to do with Montgomery. There's a couple of times where he's like, I'm going to fall backwards.
Maybe. Yeah.
But he did have a good game. I can't be, I can't be upset with him. He had a good game. You're absolutely right. And he showed a bit of physicality, like still not what we want consistently, still not Roquan Smith, but he showed some willingness to be physical in this game that he hadn't in the past. Really quick, I'll let you keep going, but Iman says, oh, okay, sorry, I meant free Rams tickets, not Vikings. I'm speed texting. We get it. No, that's awesome. We get the speed texting mistakes. Yep. It's happened on an Instagram post or two. Yeah, free Rams tickets. That's awesome. I mean, I think that's a blast. And speaking of which, we'll be out there January 9th for the Ravens Steelers game. It's official. We booked them today. DK will be there. We will be there. We're gonna do some tailgating somewhere, Glenn.
Do you want me to let my hair out?
Yes, we got to get out there and have the folks come by. We gotta have you guys come by and hang out with us. So make sure you're there. But take down the ponytail. Get all.
I'll let the locks go, man. I certainly will. Let me talk about a couple notes I had, Jimbo, and that's how we'll kind of get through the game. So I touched earlier about the impressive. I was impressed with Patrick Queen. I thought he had a couple nice plays. He had a big tackle for loss on third down that forced that failed field goal attempt by Santos. So I thought he was impressive. Obviously, Bowser had the big game. I mean, the strip sack on Fields, the late sack on Dalton, the sack that was taken away from him by a penalty that it would have really been a huge day for him to get 3. But what with Bowser, is this going to be another situation where he has a big game and then he disappears for the next 3 or 4?
I don't know. It's really odd with him. I'm going to say no. I mean, not every game is going to be this from a statistical standpoint, right? Yeah. But I think we're going to continue to see more and more out of him. I believe him when he said he still feels like he's getting better. He still feels like he's improving, still feels like he's learning. So I'm going to, if there's one person on our defense that I'm going to put faith in, it's Tyus Bowser. I'm rolling with him. I like what he's done. You can tell he's put in a lot of work in the film room and in the practice field. Like you can tell it's very apparent. And I mean, in all facets of his game, I mean, the way that he's getting after the quarterback right now, it's impressive stuff.
No doubt.
No, I think that I'm going to give Tyus Bowser and only Tyus Bowser the benefit of the doubt from a defensive standpoint.
Yeah, I thought he played well. Tone the Virgo says, now the real tough stretch is upon us. What do you guys think our record will be over these next few weeks?
Don't ask me that, Tone. Don't ask
me that.
I know.
Let's just say I'm glad that the Ravens got this one, and I'm hopeful that Lamar can get himself healthy and bounce back from this. Because it had to have been a brutal illness for him to miss this game. It had to have been something that really put him on his backside. So yeah, hopefully he can get back out there. Now, if Lamar can get back out there and Hollywood can get back out there, then you start to have a little more confidence going into this tough stretch. But if these situations continue, it's gonna be tough.
It's funny how irrational I get as a fan, and I'll openly admit this, and a lot of people will grill me for this, but I know everyone's thinking the same thing, and they just don't want to say it. So I'll say it. Now that I'm looking back, it cracks me up now, but like I'm tweeting, right? And I see Hollywood tweeting. And I'm thinking in my head, man, if your fingers work, get out on the field. But like obviously it's a thigh, right? But
fingers work.
Right, like I'm that irrational, like that emotional at the moment. Like, bro, if you're healthy enough to tweet, you're healthy enough to play. Like, that's not true. It's just stupid, right? Like I'm just emotional about the game. But I know I'm not the only one that thinks that. But anyway, I saw his tweet and I was like, get out there, Like,
if you can tweet, you can run.
That's right.
That's my motto.
That's right.
Yeah. No,
I want to get to something else though, Glenn.
Yeah, let's have it.
And somebody just mentioned it, and I thought about it as soon as it happened. Jalen Ferguson made his first contribution to the Baltimore Ravens in the history of Jalen Ferguson as a Baltimore Raven.
Is that right?
I mean, that was a huge play.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I loved watching him after they caught him on the sideline rubbing his arm where the ball hit him. You don't want to be caught rubbing your arm where the ball hits you if you're, known as the enforcer, according to Wink Martindale.
You know what he's been doing? He's been reaching across the table for the dinner rolls. He's practicing the extension. Bam! He got it.
Poor Fergie. Poor Snacks.
Dude, on Thanksgiving, he's going to be like this. Boom! He's just practiced. He's ready.
But look, shout out to him, man. I mean, he got it. He certainly made a big time play. Set up the Ravens for a short field, and who knows how much that changed the game. Absolutely. But yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, Tone. Because you're right, the tough stretch is coming. But one game at a time is I guess the best way.
And really quickly, didn't the Titans lose today? Did they end up losing, or did they come back?
They lost to the Houston Texans. Every team has had a stinker of a game. Apparently
Buffalo
no team
lost.
has more than has 2 wins in a row right now currently in the league.
Wow.
You talk about parity. I mean, the Green Bay Packers lost today against the Minnesota Vikings.
Because I was watching the updates, but I didn't see the final score.
They kicked a field goal with time running out, a bunny of a field goal, and wow. So there is certainly a path to the number 1 seed because any team can and will be beaten any given Sunday.
The Bills are not. Right now, you could look. We're not good. We're not a good football team right now, but I think it mostly has to do with health.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The Bills are healthy.
I know. No excuses.
I just don't think they're that good.
Well, you certainly have to start looking at coaching if you're not having health issues and you're sputtering the way you are. You got to start looking up top at the coaching staff.
And what did I tell you about the Indianapolis Colts in our AFC roundup, dude? They're real, and I think they're going to take the South.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's Jonathan Taylor. What do you have? 5 touchdowns today? I think he had 5.
Is he in the MVP race?
They're talking about him. I think this is the year that you could see it because there's no team, there's no player that's just making it obvious.
Unless Lamar just goes off and has a tear when he comes back. I feel like he would be the guy that would just go on an absolute tear, right?
Yeah, you'd have to have a game like that because now he's missed a game in which his team still won without him. That certainly doesn't help his bid. Right. As we were kind of frying Huntley. From the Arizona, Kyler Murray for his team still winning despite him missing and how that hurt his chances. So I'm not gonna flip around and not do the same thing. Michael says fly James Washburn in. I
think he meant Washburn, like Evan Washburn. It took me a while to get that one too. Like,
is this like a joke because of you guys looking similar?
Yeah. I think that's what I'm understanding. But look, I tell you what, if I was Lamar Jackson's personal chef,
you'd see a new Lamar Jackson out there.
I mean, look, I do work in the kitchen is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I can guarantee you this: he'd have a healthier gut biome than he currently has.
Right.
Now it looks like, and this was I didn't actually dive deep and confirm this, but apparently, according to our people in our comments section, that a lot of players in Louisville on the Louisville football team also dealing with the stomach ailment, and this may have somehow been contracted when he was doing his visit.
That's my whole point. Even with the health, even if he gets it, if he's got the gut biomes that are in better shape, pumping iron every day,
get back healthier,
he fends
and quicker.
It off.
Okay,
right? Just saying.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I hear you there. And hopefully next week he'll be back because we're certainly going to need
Oh
him
my gosh.
going into next week. But yeah, let's all right, let's get into some of our keys, and I want to kind
Yep.
of see how these went. My offensive key to the game
Mm-hmm.
was third down conversions. The Ravens last week were 2 for 13 against the Miami Dolphins, and we saw how that ended. This week, much improved. They were 7 for 16 on third down opportunities, which is far better than 2 for 13. Still not where you want it to be, but still pretty good.
Yeah.
And then 1 for 1 on fourth
And
down.
don't you think? Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's all I was say. 1 for 1 on fourth down. So I mean, you talk about that's a combined 8 for 17 in those big conversion opportunities, while the Bears, on the other hand, were 4 for 14. So you can
Yeah.
see, and you're talking about a 3-point game. A lot of times it comes down to those plays.
Yeah, and really quickly before I give my comment,
O's
Ravens,
Nation. That's right.
O's Nation. Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to the game at Pittsburgh in 2 weeks. We'll be at the January 9th game,
Yep.
which could quite possibly be Ben Roethlisberger's last game in M&T Bank Stadium if he makes it to the end of the season. It's always an if.
Yeah, it's a big if.
Some people starting to say that he might play next year, but I would be absolutely floored. Either way, what I wanted to say about the third down percentage increasing is, I mean, they were kind of forced to commit to the run game more today, and I think that put them in more favorable situations. However, Huntley did find himself in some relatively unfavorable situations on third down. But either way, I think the what I attribute that to is the run game, the emphasis on the run game.
Mm-hmm.
And having more opportunities to be more varied in your play call on third down. Not every situation, but obviously, improve that percentage. So let me ask you this about that. Do you see, like, what happens when Lamar comes back now? They had some success running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, like, it was a bit of a facade that we were ranked so highly in rushing the ball because of Lamar Jackson. But with the Boyle coming back, with McCarry coming back, with Ben Cleveland coming back, do you see a resurgence with it getting real cold? Like, do you see a resurgence of this run game on the horizon?
Definitely, 100%. I mean, and another guy that you have to mention is Latavius Murray getting healthy and getting back out there, and because this Ravens offense, if they want to operate the way they want to, they need two backs that they feel like they could count on to be productive when asked. And I'm confident in the fact that Ben Cleveland coming back, like you mentioned, Boyle getting his legs under him, and let's see how he improves. But most importantly, at least initially, when Lamar gets back out there, I highly doubt they're going to put a ton on his shoulders, at least until they can confirm that he's back to full strength. I mean, even if he is back out there and practicing, when you can't eat or, when you can't keep food down for a week to 10 days, that's going to affect your overall strength and your play strength on the field. So I doubt they're going to put a big emphasis on him carrying this team. Although, as we've seen, it may come down to that in the second half. But I'm hopeful that this run game can start to impose its will, can start to lean on some defensive fronts. If McCarry can continue to get in healthier, and Ben Cleveland the same with him, they're going to need some good performance by this run game if they're going to get to where they want to go.
Yeah, because we know at the very least with Ben and Boyle coming in, those are two guys that can move bodies.
Yeah.
McCarry's not a huge right tackle. In fact, he's extremely physically limited right tackle because that's not his position naturally, even though he moves all over the place. But so that'll be interesting to see. My offensive key of the game was get on them early. Man, no one got on anyone early.
No. Defensive battle.
There was some serious touchdown celibacy going on in this game.
Touchdown celibacy. Wow.
Well, they didn't get on each other early. I was like following
That's
up.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah,
I think that's a new one. I've never heard
that. Bit of
a
staring contest. I thought it was going to be one of those games where Justin Tucker goes for 5 field goals and
yeah,
that was
didn't happen. And not a get on them early type of game, but they won nonetheless. And offensively, we also had our breakout players. I was, of course, correct in predicting that Mark Andrews would be the breakout player, and boy, was I right about that one, Jimbo.
Mark Andrews, the one that caused the interception.
Yeah, that was a bit of a man,
right in his hands,
but he did
in the breadbasket.
That's true, but he did lead our team in receptions and receiving yards, and have a pretty darn good game outside of that one blunder. Also blocking quite well out there. And then who did you? I forget. Who did you pick as our offensive breakout player?
I picked Lamar Jackson.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So once again, I think I get a mulligan here. It's not like it's a negative. He didn't even play. Like, he didn't even play. What?
I mean, part of it is if you're available, and this is the second time you picked a guy to be your offensive player.
No, that was
And he didn't
DK.
even. Oh, was it DK?
It
Okay.
was DK did one time. I've only done it once.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. So that was clearly a win for me. All right. Moving on to the defensive keys to the game. I said harass Fields. And I don't think I can, in good conscience, claim that. Well, I mean, I'll leave it up to you, Jimbo. We sacked the quarterback 3 times. 2 times was against Justin Fields in the limited time we saw him out there. Does that count as harassment of Justin Fields? Just give it to me.
I mean, yeah, I guess we did, but the hard thing is that I don't know how I feel about Justin Fields right now. I mean, it was crazy to think that Tyler Huntley had better stats than him. What was that at halftime, right?
Yeah.
I mean, significantly better while he'd been sacked more, significantly better.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously to watch Andy Dalton come in there and, just like you said, take over the offense like he's riding a bike. It's like, not a good look for Justin Fields, in my opinion. And I understand he's young and things like that. So, yeah, I would say we harass him. The only caveat to that is, like, he didn't play any better or worse than he has. Like, it's just kind of what Justin Fields has been this year. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know.
I think he had a pretty rough game. I mean, he went. What did he?
He's had some rough games, though. That's my point.
4 for 11 for 79 yards and was sacked twice. I mean,
right, and he's also been sacked 9 times in a game, and he's got his fair share.
I guess
that's
a good point. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, he stunk it up all year. Let's just call it what it is.
I'm starting.
And are you starting to doubt your prediction?
No, he's still better. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember the kid's name.
He's better than Mac Jones.
No. Who's the the kid I hate?
Kyle Wilson.
Yeah.
But you said he was also better than Mac Jones, and
that is yet to be determined.
I mean,
Matt
I get
Nagy
that he's in a better position.
A terrible coach.
Yes, he's in a much better
Bill is
scenario.
The GOAT.
Well, depends on who you ask.
Bill might be turning that boat in your mind on back around, Glenn. With this season he's putting together, it's starting to look good for old Bill Belichick up in New England.
We'll see how it ends if he wins anything of meaning. I'll wait and see until that happens. As far as our breakout players. Oh, no, sorry.
So,
defensive key. Sorry, I skipped you.
Yeah, no, you're all good. So mine was make the wide receivers beat you, keep things in front of you. And they did not do that, i.e. Chris Westry. Keep it in front of you and simply tackle, guys. Like, they had to make those guys the playmakers because their best play, I think, Allen, one of their best playmaking wide receivers, wasn't out there. And they unfortunately didn't do that. So, I mean, it didn't happen.
Big play.
Yeah.
That's not what you want to see. I mean, look, they turned a wide receiver screen into a 60-yard touchdown. And again, it's the bad pursuit angles and poor tackling out there leads to another big play. And by the way, I know people were like upset with Wink, but I mean, look, what did the Bears do? I mean, they were shut out at halftime. They scored a touchdown on a wide receiver screen that was just poor tackling and poor angles. I don't know how.
Embarrassing. Like, those are plays that happen in high school.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude,
So
like, you see
can't
the
put that
videos of
on
your guys
Wink.
running into each other and then not tag. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to blame the DC when you only give up 13 points and 7 of those came from really even the late one. I mean, both of them were just blown by personnel, in my opinion. So I'm not gonna hang this. This is a bad performance around Wink's neck. I can't do it. But yeah, I mean, so let's get back to our preview here.
Yeah.
Our defensive breakout players. I said Odafe Owe. I couldn't have been more wrong. He had a poor game, getting 2 penalties and really not doing a ton outside of the bad plays he had. Let's see if he registered. I don't see. He had. Okay,
he had a Q back hit. Thanks, DK. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
DK.
Yeah, 2 total tackles, and none of which were solo.
We know who DK likes more. Gosh.
Well, I mean, DK's just joining a long list of many, is all I see. Now, your defensive breakout player, you picked Chuck Clark, who had an opportunity, while a tough one, to be that player when that.
Come on, Chuck.
Well, that was a tough play.
It was a really tough play. I mean, only one other safety that was a Baltimore Ravens safety in the past would have made that play. And
I don't know.
somehow
I think
turned it
Jim
into
Leonard
6.
might have made it. I don't know.
And somehow turned it into 6. Right? Like,
yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, so I agree. I mean, he had a game. I mean, he didn't break out. Like, there you go, DK. Trying to give me I appreciate the love, DK. I see. This guy's a politician. He knows how to sit on the fence.
Well, I mean, really, all he's saying is, he had an opportunity. He didn't do it, is all I saw.
But
he got his hands on it, so he should have caught it.
All right, fair enough. So another knock. Okay, another knock. Appreciate that.
I think he was taking a shot at you.
All right, fair enough. I like it.
But let's get into let's check our portfolio, Jimbo.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was about to say. Yeah, we got to talk about it because we just made some cash off the Baltimore Ravens victory. That's right. So if you guys don't know, our show today is brought to you by our partner who we've been talking about throughout the season, Symbol. Symbol is the stock market for sports. It is awesome and the only real way, in my opinion, to make money in a sustainable way. So at the end of a year, you can say, I actually made money with my sports knowledge, not I hit once and then drained the rest of it on losing, right? Because that's usually how it goes in betting. Yep. So, of course, in our portfolio, we have some money in on the Ravens. And we made a couple bucks today. Let me get to, let's see here. If you bear with me really quickly, I can get how much the price has increased post-win. Let's see here. So we made a couple bucks. The Ravens are up let's see, they're up another 87 cents, I believe, per stock. And it's only going to rise because, like you said, Glenn,
Lamar's coming back.
Lamar's coming back, but the Titans lost. Wait till the market adjusts. The Titans lost. People are going to be dumping that stock because they lost to the Texans. The Bills lost. People are going to be dumping that stock. And they're going to be looking for somewhere to put their money. Yep. And they're going to have to come to old Jimmy Haskell. So I got a lot of Ravens stock.
You're going to come talk to you.
That's
no doubt about it.
But certainly, we're doing well today. We also have money in the boys who play on Thanksgiving. And
you mean the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Well, they're playing right now. Also, they're down 9-3 to the Kansas City Chiefs in the first quarter.
All right, boys, come on.
Yeah, get back at it. Get back out there. And the Vegas Raiders also up 3-0 as last I looked against the Bungles. So, shout out.
We got stock in both of those. So, either way, whoever wins that game, we end up winning some kids' ash.
I like it.
So, go
so
join
make sure
Symbol.
You guys, join Symbol. Use promo code 410 to get a couple extra bucks on your first deposit. Look at this as a long-term or short-term, but definitely a long-term way to make some money using your sports knowledge. Go to symbol.app. And then what the flock says, if Lamar has gastroenteritis, I had it when I was 10. It is not fun at all, but it doesn't last more than a week. Fluids and vitamins and vitamin C are important. Well, I certainly hope that he's doing everything he can, including some vitamins and obviously getting his fluids and getting himself back out there as soon as he can. Because, boy, I don't want to see, this is funny. After we all remember when Huntley had his final preseason performance and he threw, I think, 5 touchdowns or whatever it was.
Huntley.
What did I say?
Humphrey?
Jeez Louise. But yes, thank you for correcting me. Huntley said, a lot of people were saying, let's let Huntley go out there. He's a more natural passer. Well, I don't think those same fans are going to be screaming for Huntley next week. I think they'll be hopeful, like the rest of us, that Lamar Jackson's back out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one heck of a game. One really incredible stat before we get into the over-under, and I know you guys are dying to know who won. But really quickly got to mention that the Ravens are now 13-0 against the NFC.
Yeah, and first time they won in Chicago.
Yeah, there you go. And basically, since Lamar became our quarterback, I mean, Lamar's undefeated against the NFC. Mm-hmm. So it's just an incredible stat. Shout out to John, who I was ready to fire before we won that game. But that's the emotions of a fan. I'm not going to lie.
That's right.
I'm not going to lie. So what other notes you got there, Glenn? I think some other notes to point out. Obviously, Tucker came through clutch, made some big kicks, high difficulty kicks, and went out there and nailed them. Of course, we would have lost this game without one Justin Tucker. Freeman might be my offensive player of the game, and had one heck of a game. You talked about his stats. Sammy Watkins, we talked about him coming through clutch. What are your feelings on Bateman and his performance today? Do you think he would have performed at a higher level if his QB1 is throwing him the ball today?
Oh, 100%. I think he still looks like he's going to eventually be the real deal here. He just needs some more time, needs some more experience. Would have liked to see him be a little more physical, especially at the end. I mean, we're lucky they got the call, but I'd like to see him try and play it through some of that contact and at least make a play on the ball, because that should have been, say they don't call that pick. Now he drops it, but it should have been an easy interception if they don't call the PI. I'm sorry. So I'd like to see him play with a little more play strength, especially at the point of attack, and play through some perceived, interference, because sometimes that play is not called your way. And so if you give up on it because you assume a play is, a call is going to be made and it's not, then it could end up being, a catastrophic play. So I'd like to see him play a little stronger, but other than that, I was still happy with what I saw from Bateman.
Yeah. And then the other thing too, Calais Campbell might get an Emmy after today, right?
Why is that?
The fake injury.
Oh, when he
fell over, he's like
sides and
he just drops like a rock. And I actually think he hurt his knee a little bit when he fell.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a smart play though. Absolutely. I mean, the fact that he was heady enough to go down in that situation, because they were definitely going to get the snap off and get an offsides and a too many men on the field at the same time.
They kept showing close-ups, like 3 or 4 times. Showed a close-up of Calais Campbell and his grill inside that helmet. I've never seen anyone else's face smushed. He looks like a grown baby when you put, you know what I'm saying? It's, I don't.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Jonathan Ogden when he had a helmet on.
Yeah, there you go.
It just looked like it was built around his head, like it can't be removed ever. It's like, and it was funny. There was a play where he kind of was trailing. I think it's Jeremy Grant for the. And actually, I'm gonna look that up. But he was trailing Grant on a drag route, and he kind of forced him out. It was Jakeem Grant. Sorry. And then they walked by one another. And Grant walking by Calais Campbell looked like my son walking next to me. Like just half his size. He is such a big dude. You forget how large he is, even amongst other NFL players.
Yeah, it's just insane. The other thing we got to talk about, too, is let's talk about Huntley before we get into our over-under. And I know you're dying to get into our over-under, but let's talk about
Why would you say that, Jimbo?
Let's talk about Tyler Huntley here. Stock up or stock down as a backup quarterback, not as a starter, but like as a backup quarterback on Tyler Huntley today. I personally, before I let you answer, want to say I expected more out of Tyler Huntley, and I'm a bit biased. But I've seen Tyler play in huge, high leverage moments and execute. And he had big moments in this game. I mean, at the end of the day, we won and he made big throws. But the only thing I was a little bit disappointed about was one, I felt like he was a little late to try to escape in the pocket and took a few more sacks than he had to. And then number 2 is I felt like when he was rolling out, like, dude, even on the Sammy play, he should have thrown the ball half a second earlier. Dude, he's wide. Literally, who cares what your feet are like? He's so open. Just throw it. Like, don't, you know what I mean? He was late on a few of them. And
even the Andrews, the one that got picked, he was late.
Right, exactly. But the Sammy one was so egregious. I felt like I'm so glad he came down with that. It was such a blown coverage that the guys still didn't have time to recover. But I'm going to say, like, I'm holding steady. Stock not down, stock not up. But where are you on Tyler Huntley? Are you going to see people? You think people will start getting back on the Trace bandwagon after today?
I think they'd be crazy if they were. I think Huntley, you consider the situation he was in. I think he played certainly well enough for being a backup quarterback, being thrown into a situation that I don't even think he expected that he would have to play. I think he even probably thought that Lamar was going to be able to somehow find a way out there. He goes 26 of 36. Yeah, was he great? No, he wasn't great at all. And yeah, he was late on the Sammy throw, which probably if he gets it to him earlier, probably ends up being a touchdown one play earlier, which could have actually been a bad thing, gave him more time. But you're right. If he gets it to him earlier enough, I guarantee Sammy has time to make that one guy miss with all that open field around him to do so. And he was late on the Mark Andrews pick. If he throws it to him earlier, the defender doesn't have the opportunity to get in there. But I'll say this, the throw while late should have been caught by Mark Andrews. The ball hit him in his chest, and he allowed it to be taken away from him by the defender. So while I don't necessarily agree with the play call, and I think the throw was late, he still should have caught the ball, and it shouldn't even have been an issue It should have been, 3rd and 1 at that point, because I think he was catching it just short of the first, if I remember correctly. But I think he played well enough, and when you consider all that was missing around him,
Yep.
the fact that the offensive line still wasn't playing well at all. Both tackles had a really, really bad game, Villanueva and Macari.
Yep.
So I think it was good enough. It's not like this is a veteran coming. It's not like Joe Flacco coming off the bench. It's not like even Andy Dalton coming off the bench. This is a guy coming off the bench who's never started a meaningful game in his career yet. So
yep.
I was encouraged by what I saw and not disappointed. But I mean, of course, I wanted more, but I wasn't disappointed about what I saw from him.
Fair enough. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. I think that's a great reminder to everyone that, I mean, he's not only a backup, but he's an extremely young backup.
Yes.
Right. Like, I mean, that's something to remember. So yeah, that's a good point. Joe Flacco was out there playing like he was trying to avenge that loss, right?
He was like, hold up, what y'all do to my Ravens last week?
Right.
Didn't go so well for him.
It's so weird watching him in double-digit numbers. Like,
yeah, kind of goofy.
Yeah, no, for sure. But all right, so let's get into our over/under competition, and let's announce our internal winner between the three of us, and then of course our winner for our competition. And the other thing, before I get into this really quickly, do we have scores anywhere of the season? Because somebody might be on a hot streak right now, but that doesn't mean that the season is over.
I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about.
Like, we should
Jimmy.
tally it up. We should have something,
Please elaborate. Who might be on a hot streak?
Yeah, obviously Glenn's on a hot streak 2 weeks in a row. But let's
Actually, I think I lost last week and won the week before, but that I'll take it, Jimbo.
Oh, see, yeah, fair enough. I put the Miami game out of my mind. Yeah. But I just want to say this. This might be the most shocking thing. I beat DK in last place. DK, what is happening, bro?
I mean, all I know is 3 of 4. I didn't just beat you guys. I mean, I pantsed you guys. I mean,
wait, you got one more right than me.
Red.
You got one more right than me.
Well, DK,
that was bad.
You're talking JV to varsity if you look at those two. I mean, that's all I'm saying. So, yeah, our over-unders were, of course, Mark Andrews receiving yards. We put it at 70.5, and he barely gets over it, just as I predicted, going for 73 yards. So I was correct there. The only one who correctly predicted that one. And then, of course, Lamar Jackson passing yards. We were all wrong. Or were me and Jimmy actually just right? Because we said under. So was I really 4 for 4? No, actually, because I was wrong on the OA. Right. So I guess he did get me right on that. Okay. All right, DK. Okay. Respect. And then, the next one at Afe Owe, 0.5 sacks. I said over. Jimmy said under. He was the only one correct because DK said over as well. So shout out to Jimbo Slimbo on that one. Then Justin Fields rushing long, set it at 16.5. I was me and DK were the only two to say under, as Jimmy incorrectly predicted he would go over that.
To be honest with you.
I don't know why. I mean, they practice against Lamar. There's nothing that
they can't tackle. They can't tackle. I feel like I could break a tackle or two out there. You put me in the open field, like, hey.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, all right, fair enough. Well, you were still wrong.
I was wrong.
And then our total yards for the Ravens. We both we all took a prediction. I think we all shot a little bit high. In the end, I think we were, all expecting Lamar Jackson to be out there. So the fact that he's not out there certainly hurts. But we had a total of 299 yards on the day, which is far less than anything we all predicted. In fact, Jimmy, you were the closest, predicting 394. So nobody was good in that regard.
No.
And then predicting the score, Jimmy, once again, he was the closest. Predicting 24-21, but nobody was really close as we all were way higher again at predicting that Lamar would be playing.
Yeah, going into the fourth quarter, wasn't it 9-7 or something like that? Going into the fourth?
I believe so. Yep, 9-7.
So crazy to think about. Like, I was like, yeah, this is terrible. As far as our scores go. But so Glenn pulls it off 3 out of 4. But more importantly, our new winner, Marky Shepard, who DM'd us on Facebook.
New winner with an asterisk.
Why's that?
Because I'm pretty sure, and it's okay, but I'm pretty sure Marky Shepard It just so happens to be in a relationship with someone who's already won this year, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah, I think we have someone who's putting entries under his name and his girlfriend's name, I believe, which I don't think is breaking any
Wait,
rules.
who did we have that one that was a female contestant?
No, this is Marquis, I believe, is a
Oh,
girl.
I see.
I believe is a girl.
I
And
see.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is Dave who won. Yep, Dave Cutsale, who I think won
Dang.
already this year, which again is
You
not.
dirty dog.
Look, he said, no, she watches the games. Okay. I mean, I don't think there's any rules are being violated here, but I do think this is a bit of a double dipping. But look, that's okay.
Hey,
It's
she won.
okay.
She got herself a shirt. And you know what?
That's right.
Marky, we want your size, not Dave's size.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. We want, and it better, and look, we already know, we can look at the records and we know Dave's size. So we need to send a smaller size to prove that this was in fact for Marky. But yeah, shout out to Marky Shepard. And if there was any help given, shout out to Dave Cutsale. They are this week's challenge winner. And yeah, so they will be getting a shirt sent in the mail. Just give us your size.
She will
and
be,
address.
not they.
Okay, she will be.
And she is our winner.
Watch Jimmy send her a pink shirt just to ensure it. That would be hilarious. But yeah,
if
so
they don't make
out.
them in pink, if she wanted it, I'd try. But I'd try.
Absolutely. But if you guys are curious, every pregame show or preview show, I should say, we do announce these challenges, and the way you participate is simply DMing us on any of the major social network platforms, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, or what's the Instagram, and as well as commenting on the video itself after the live version's over.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a blast today. We got anything else to talk about? I mean, other than this week is going to be fun coming up. Of course, we got Thanksgiving. Make sure you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving, but we will be here for you. We'll prepare you for next week's game. Of course, we'll have a guest on from the opposing team. We'll have some shows coming out tonight to further break down our thoughts, the storylines in regards to the Bears game and the Ravens moving forward. And join us Friday, as always. Even though it's Black Friday, you might be out shopping, but put us in your ear.
Not at night. You missed it all
like
anyway.
A midday thing
It's a morning thing. You got to hit the morning to get the good deals.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. See, I don't do any of that.
I don't either, but I at least know that to steer clear of the morning of.
It's all madness to me.
Yes. Absolutely.
But if you're into it, enjoy it.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. But yeah, excellent game. Again, another game that came down to the very last moment. And so that's it for us, and we will see you guys tomorrow.
It's ridiculous.